Hey everybody, I'm just gonna preference that this is from a stream, so it's not gonna be the best quality. So you might hear some background noise or something like that. And so that's my first time doing this, and I thought I'd go over the whole sort of the YouTube issue that's been going on, and how YouTube has pretty much lost their minds. Like seriously, they have. And I wrote up a notes here. Like I said, my first time doing it, if you can't tell, first time. And I just want to, go over some things, so like common sense things that they, because I'm putting up content, I saw the message, and if you're a content creator or a YouTuber, I am not one of those people, but I do put content on YouTube. I'm not one of these big people. I'm just, when you have something to say, go out there and put that in the public. Even if it's not very good, even if it's not substantial or anything like that, sometimes you just have to put your own stuff out there. Either through a tweet or something at them at YouTube, but, don't send death threats because those are dumb and don't get people anywhere. And you look like an idiot. Let's be honest. You know. So, like I said, if you're a content creator, you're probably there's this message on top of the screen when you get to the automatic data that they automatically put in, and the quote is um I was confused. Where's okay? According to YouTube, it's required by law. The content is either for kids or adults. Yeah, yeah. It's pretty much like there's content for there. I thought I had the quote up here. Turns out I did not. Um. Oh, there it is. Okay. Important. All creators are obligated to take action to complete with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act and or other laws. Review your channel and video settings. That's the exact quote. I'm sorry, I had a lighter font and it didn't show up on the print. So, I was kind of confused by this the first time. I'm like, what's going on? And so I did a few YouTube results, and they do have a YouTube video for this, which I've lost because they decided they either don't want people to see it or that much because the upvotes and downvotes are pretty equal to that video, and pretty much they're gonna say is there content for adults or for kids. It's pretty simple, but whenever YouTube changes something, something is going down. Like in like near 2007 and stuff like that, when they decided to put a bot up for the cover like copyright issues, there was so many copyright notifications on that day when that people's channels were just stopped. Like content creators, which is kind of interesting for people who make content nowadays. Now they gotta, because people are demonetized for the simplest things. Back in like a year ago when Vox went after Steven Crowder, um, when he said like they pretty much are leaning toward Vox. They came up to YouTube and Google came up to Vox's defense, and but when Steven Crowder came forward, and said are we violating guidelines? We need help to realize what we're doing wrong, because so far we've done nothing wrong. And they have a lawyer to go over everything they do to make sure it does not. Um, I can't think of the word, but to pretty much not go over anything that's prohibited by YouTube. And this is why you do a little preparation, folks. You don't get tongue-tied. And so they had the lawyer there to make sure that what they do is not contractually obligated, to go off of YouTube's things. Like, they were in the right. So Stephen Crowder came forward. He's like, "Hey, we're obeying your guidelines. What do you want us to, like, so why are we being demonetized and targeted?" And then, not only that, at the same time when Vox were addressing this to Google, YouTube, etc., a lot of other channels were being targeted as well. And like history channels that said the word Nazi at all, like they were covering like a World War II stories. No, you can't say those things. Sorry, you're now demonetized or taken down, and all this stuff. And so that was one of the changes that happened recently. In fact, even like a month ago, almost a month ago, Tulsi Gabbard was, the one of the Democratic nominees who was going for president was supposedly throttled. That court case hasn't been anywhere, and she's suing them because she found evidence of being throttled after one debate where people will talk about on social media, which is basically like you need social media airtime in YouTube airtime in order, because what is the Democratic debate is like the E3. You watch it, and then you talk about it later, and then that generates the hype. The hype is not really E3 or the debate. The hype is what happens afterwards. You need that. That's your currency, and she have found evidence of being throttled, and then 2 hours later, she was back to her channel and said, "Whoa, that's not right. That probably cost votes for her," and she spoke out against it. She said this is against the nature of free speech and all this stuff. So, and then now we have these changes to YouTube content for adults for kids, which on the surface, again on paper, sounds good. That way we can't get confused. We can use all the lovely words that kids aren't supposed to hear, and for adults, and then on the kids we can just lollipops and rainbows for them. But do you really trust bots to do that? And in fact, if you get that wrong on your content, it could cost you money, a strict amount of money. In fact, it is suggested that maybe you should get a lawyer. Does that sound insane to you? Like, thanks to people like that are on YouTube that are kind of exposing this. Like, if you ever find somebody who's actually like not exposing, I should say, addressing the issue, those people are right fearful, because why would you trust bots? And then YouTube, which puts this blanket, this net over it, try to catch these fish, and these fish they want to catch are advertisers, which is why on the front page you'll see late night talk shows, CNN, Fox News, and stuff like that. But no content creators that they don't trust will never be on those front pages. This is why they'll never see Probably PewDiePie as much because he's not the right person for advertisers. Like I guess, and so in order to do that, they want to make as much as TV as possible, which is dumb anyways because even the most cartoony like show, I mean, or network or channel will have adult content, and even adults will watch that content, and children sometimes watch more adult content. So it's not just a net. So one of the actually a good things about actually about this is you do it on an individual basis. It's not all it's not all like all for adults, all for kids. You can set some videos for kids, some videos for adults. But again, once a kid sees something and they say, "Wow, I want to see more of this," and then has the opposable thumb and knowledge to click the next video, which is not that hard on an iPad or because believe it or not, nobody really watches over the age of under the age of 13 or 12 uses computers to watch videos. They usually watch them on their phone, on a pad, or on someone else's. Yeah, very little is on a laptops are used by like adults or college students, you know. But I'm not saying kids don't use laptops. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that like availability is more important than setting up because you know kids want gratification now. That's what they want, and so you're gonna have like, should I sit? Should I get a chair, open up a laptop, sign in, or do I just want to push a few buttons and boom, I'm there? Exactly. So yeah. So there is a like I said, there was a video that they said is like a Q&A sort of video, and they said what is content for kids. So what is kids content, and they didn't exactly go over what is adult content. That's kind of the missing part of that video. Anything that's not kid is adult content, really? Because here's the thing: Disney Plus came out and they have trigger warnings for movies, and then they changed Simpsons episodes, and I'm like, no, I watched Simpsons when I was a kid because it was something we weren't supposed to watch. That's the thing. Children are inquisitive. They're curious. And the thing about like when a when an adult tells them no, they're like, why are they telling me no? It's either because it's so cool or good that I need to step on anyone's toes to get that. Or it's because it's dangerous. And both of those intrigue kids. This is why a lot of in the 1980s, Ghostbusters was seen as a sort of a kid's product, even though it wasn't. That was a mature movie for mature audiences, but kids loved it. So it's kind of interesting that they don't cover the adult part of those of the kids stuff, which is interesting. So I took a screenshot of what they were talking about. So what is made for kids? Factors to consider, not facts. Factors, which means these are factors means to pretty much broad statements. These are all broad statements, which means they can get away with anything they want. Excuse me. Be interruptions. I apologize. But um because okay, that was terrible. I apologize. Probably need to edit that out. But hey, It happens. I get Robo Called all the time. So, anyways, so the screenshot I have here, so factors to consider would be the subject matter of the video. Again, that's pretty broad. The subject matter of the video, say someone's doing a review for a statue for Smash Brothers. So what are they going to do? If it's an adult doing it, and he says in an adult way, does that mean that's for adults? It's just some common sense stuff. And what if a kid's doing it, and you mouth off? Does that mean that content's for adults? Again, like, not every kid's the same. What if one kid swears up and down, and because, I don't know, their parents let them do that, or lets them do that, and then wants to watch adult content because he swears up and down, then, like, and what if the adult kid is too sensitive? Then the subject matter doesn't matter, does it? It's kind of interesting. Okay, and the next thing they want to consider is if children are the intended audience. This is obvious. If there are some adults who actually do kid content fairly well, and like, for example, there's a lot of Fortnite videos for kids that are done by adults, and there are some Fortnite things for adults. Sorry, taking a drink. So again, like, it depends, but at least it's clear enough that intended audience for children has a certain vibe to it. Like, for example, the Smash figure analogy is he's like, and it shows it off and it shows off what to do, and then they show gameplay. But again, if they show gameplay, that could be considered for adults because some people throw Smash Brothers as violent for some reason. Who knows? But anyways, the next one is if it includes child actors or models. Child actors or models. Okay. That makes no sense to me. It really does. Like, okay, what if? Because there's this really good commercial, but it's a parody commercial for like Capri Sun. It's pretty much Capri Sun, and so it's like, hey, take this. It's supposed to be this parody of the '90s commercial where this mother gives these three random kids, and these three random kids get this pouch, and they have to punch the pouch in order to take the drink. And so what happens is that they all turn into liquid T1000s, and they go out to this some kind of sports star, and he's like, whoa, dude, that's awesome! Like, let them play and all that stuff. And all of a sudden, when it reappears, it becomes this Detask, horrifying Cthulhu-like monster that's from like Resident Evil game, and it starts like, and that's the joke. Is that this wholesome thing with child actors turns into something that is completely parody and awful. So again, saying that includes child actors or models doesn't cover child content. Like, if a child saw that, I don't know how they would react. I don't know how a parent would react. Because some parents are completely sensitive to what their children see. And if they saw it, they'd be going like, it's like one of those overacting parents. You better hope not. Better hope they're sensible, or else you'll be sued again. Like, okay. So the next point, if it includes characters, celebrities, or toys that appeal to children. Okay. That's dumb too. Because what if it's Batman? And you know who Batman fights? The Joker, who had an R-rated movie that children really wanted to see, and parents said no. It's because it's a mature content. And Batman is even a vigilante. And the cops let him get away with it, which is not something that would happen in real life. And he does fight these serious, gothic sort of villains that would absolutely be terrifying. Batman is liked by adults and children because he kicks butt, but also has the psychological issues. Of being a guy who literally his origin story is his parents were killed in an alley by a random person. That's how he became the Batman. And that's what I just wow. It feels like Spider-Man. Spider-Man is probably plastered everywhere for kids. Who is literally an origin of I let a person get away and kill my Uncle Ben. Like, okay, celebrities. Okay, that's a little more passable because there are celebrities for kids. Until they do something wrong. So it's not very, even that's a little bit misty because one day in the open limelight can turn a person from a child star for a star for children into the world's worst person to media. Like it's just so weird how these rules for YouTube are so dumb. And uses language meant for children to understand. Okay, are you talking about dumbed down like Peppa Pig or something? Because Peppa Pig is pretty awful. And it teaches nothing except how children to be selfish and all that stuff. I wouldn't let my child watch that. No way. I'm like, but I'll let them watch Sesame Street, which has sure, it has numbers and all that stuff, but it has a few morals in there that are hard for children to understand. And then they ask questions. It's good for children to ask questions. Children shouldn't be. Children should be in a sort of safe space, but it's sort of not. Because safe spaces it should not be for children. You need to teach them as they grow up that things get tougher. You need to have thick skin. You need to be able to take a punch in the stomach once in a while and just walk away. And when you use language meant for children to understand, I'm not saying that all children's programming is made for the growing child that needs to toughen up. What I am saying is that there are different kinds of children. Man, I'm trying to backstep really hard. But it may seem a little bit harsh when I say something like that, but that's how I grew up. So it's kind of like, but then again, different strokes for different folks because not all children are the same. Like I know a lot of children who are too sensitive to those kind of things, so they need a little bit of a safe space in order to get away from that stuff. But that safe space is not on YouTube. It's not. Like you're gonna see things that are going to challenge you, and parents have to clarify what that is. Parenting is the way you go through videos on YouTube. Like as long as you understand, you stay away from these certain things on YouTube, and then put them on YouTube Kids, I think it's safe. Just be a parent. It's sort of like when when GTA 5 or any Grand Theft Auto comes out. Okay? GameStop doesn't care who buys your game. They could care less. So they're going to sell, with parents' permission, to get that game. The parent is there. They take the money. The transaction is made. Then they walk away. The children plays the game. And then the parent sees what happens in the game. And then they get upset. No. YouTube, video games, whatever, TV is not your babysitter. Okay? This has been happening since the beginning of entertainment. Since the radio. You know what happened in the radio? People would come around and then explain to children why we're listening to the radio. Same thing happened when TV came out. That's you have to kind of have to hover for a little bit for your children. But you also need to back off and let them sort of let people figure out what's going on in the world. Even children are smart enough to know to push limits. But children want to go beyond their limits. It's just the way it is. So, again, I don't understand what they're doing here. If it includes activities that appeal to children, again, name me something that, other than, okay, when it comes to content on YouTube, I should say, when it comes to everything an adult does, children does. Kids do. I mean, children does. Yeah, that's smart. Good job, me. Good job with words. But what I mean is, everything a kid does, an adult does these days. Really. I mean, kids go outside to play pretend. Okay? They pretend to be superheroes, cops, robbers, cowboys and Indians, whatever you want to call it. When they grow up, they turn into live-action role players. Or they'll go to the shooting range. And in their mind's eye, that thing over there is a criminal. That thing you're shooting. Or something like that. I'm not saying that, they want to shoot somebody. What I'm saying is that it kind of, on a psychological issue, what activities that appeal to children, they also appeal to adults. But I guess there's nothing stopping, because when it comes to children's entertainment, the best entertainment in the world that's for everybody. This is why Pixar is so good at what they do. Because an adult can sit down and watch a Pixar movie and be entertained by the psychological issues that the characters are going through. The children like it because it's colorful pictures, and the characters are sometimes wacky. That's, they both like it on different levels. But this is creating a divide, where it's an adult will not want to watch kids' content. And kids are not allowed to watch adult content. I don't think it's going to work. And then they'll find out it doesn't work, try something else, and then that won't work because, again, they're trying to throw a net, catch nothing. It's almost like a parable in the Bible or something. You need to throw your net on the other side to catch all the fish. But the other side is compromise and talking and actually taking an active part. But they don't want to do that. Let's just have, robots do everything. It's easier that way. Okay, if it includes, the next one is a factor to consider is if it includes songs, stories, or poems that appeal to children. This one I have to give it up to YouTube actually doing the right thing because I've been to a friend's house and they have a kid. They have many kids, and one of the things that they put on for them is nursery rhymes. That is for kids. Poems for kids. If you want to look it up online for adults, you can just look at Google and look at all that stuff. So that's one for them because no adult is gonna look up nursery rhymes to watch. I mean, you can if you want, but good sailing, good surf for your life ahead of you. But yeah, I mean, there is one thing to consider though when it comes to nursery rhymes and all that stuff. What if, because there is a content creator out there who has two nursery rhyme videos, and he critiques them with an adult edge, which is kind of funny to make fun of those things. So yeah, it could be for adults, but let's be real. The only reason you're watching it is because that's a part of their content. You could say that's for adults only, which is, again, you can do that on an individual basis. So I'll give it to YouTube for that. But the rest of them are so broad. It's all I have to do is, this is just common sense stuff I'm just grabbing out of the air, by the way. This isn't in depth at all. Because I wonder if people at companies actually talk to real people. Because all it takes is one person to say, hey, maybe this isn't the right way to do things. But it's like I was watching this TED talk about this feminist who actually stopped becoming a feminist because he talked to men activists. All you have to do is listen to the other side in a calm manner, and then it'll get the information that you need. It de-radicalizes you to listen to the other side. And I don't know if they do that or not, or they're just pulling at the extremes. It's like we need to do this in extreme measures so we can just stop these appeals and all this stuff. And instead of doing the extremes, why not do it level by level? YouTube was doing a pretty good job until this started coming up. In fact, I forgot to mention this, but about a week ago, Markiplier was doing a charity stream, and people got banned left and right and they had their account like suspended or terminated because they were spamming emotes in live chats. And I'm not talking about from YouTube. I'm talking about Google accounts, which means they couldn't figure out what was going on. They couldn't get to their emails and find out what's going on. Everything tied to that Google account was gone. And Markiplier fought for those people. This was good on him. And then, with all this child stuff going on, you expect it to do good? You've lost your mind. And like, if you can't stop people from spamming, it's called moderators. That's how you do it. Twitch already came up with that solution. It's called moderators. Someone starts spamming, kick them. Okay. Yeah, okay. I was wrong about 2007. Okay, so in 2013, they copyrighted videos, and because they added the bots, those bots that seek out copyright material, and they would laser them. They would just pretty much say this says copyright material, this is copyright material, which pretty much figured by vernacular, but screwed over content creators in a big way that day. And they knew they did wrong, so they began growing that up, but they still needed that content system because it did the work for them. It's obviously all they care about is, they don't care about stances, they care about money. Money, money, money. Which is not a bad thing to, if you have a service and you give that service to another person, and that person wants that service, they should pay money for it. I mean, transaction 101. But But when people have a complaint and they say, go fly a kite, by their actions, not their words, their actions, yeah, it's hard to not be afraid of what's going to happen in the future with this kids' content stuff. People have a right to be scared, and then people get channels being terminated for no reason, and then they give it a reason. In fact, they never planned to. In fact, one of YouTube's comments is, we never planned to do anything about this, we're sorry. I'm like, why? You've lost your minds. Okay, let's go. Not so. Not only do we have to deal with kids' content, we have to deal with the copyright issue, which has never been resolved. Not really. And it's really easy to spot normal abuse of copyright material. They'll change things about the video, and then they'll speed up the audio. That's copyright. Okay? But the bots don't see it because... And then, if it's copyrighted material, people aren't going to report on it. We expect people to report on this stuff sometimes. Because I watch a lot of cartoon series on YouTube, and I would report on it. Because I watch that stuff. I watch entire seasons of shows sometimes on YouTube because they're there, but no one's going to report on it. You think people are going to snitch for YouTube? No. Because, believe it or not, people don't trust Google and YouTube anymore. Not really. And then you have people working on content creators which have the laser focus on them. Because they know they use content and they try to obey by the rules, so they try to do it the right way through accountability, responsibility, and they get punished for it. So what do you expect them to do? They walk on eggshells, and sometimes those eggshells are mines, and so they shout at YouTube, and YouTube is like, we don't know what to do. Actually, they do, but I wouldn't say they don't know what to do. They know what to do. They just, I don't know if they care or not sometimes. It's an interesting way to run a business, especially in the beginning of YouTube. They were hungry for content creators. Just ask like Stephen Crowder or Angry Joe or anything like that. They wanted people like these people. Like I remember Channel Awesome was one with AVGN, Markiplier and PewDiePie. They wanted those kinds of people because people loved them, and that made them money. Now they have all the money. Now they're going to cut the feet of beneath them and say, we don't need you anymore. We have these big companies now who are supporting us. It's like, wow. And not only that, it takes like hostage videos now to get YouTube's attention, which is a quote from, I like that quote. It came from The Quartering. It's a good quote. It says like, what it is he said like, because there are people who put down like, they're in a room by themselves, behind a bookshelf behind them, and it looks like they're taken hostage by like from terrorists, and it's crazy, and they're giving, it's almost like they're treating me well. You're nothing to worry about. Send this person money to blank. Thank you for your cooperation. It almost goes in that exact fashion, except it's like, I need to get YouTube's attention. The people holding me hostage are the same people who need to help me. It's like if you went inside a bank and there's another side of the bank who can help you, but you had to go through the side of the bank that just wants to take all your money. It's great. It's insane. Uh, and then I'm gonna run ads on your channel, especially when like they take ads off your channel. Patreon and PayPal, even they're kind of they're kind of corrupted because they say your political leaning is this. Well, we're not gonna let you use our system to make sure you get food on your table. And I'm like, that should have nothing to do with it. People want to see it. It doesn't matter what it is. Then why do you care? It's popular enough that you put it on your that you let put it on your channel for years. And then, like I said, like even Patreon is kind of like, I don't like your political leaning, so we're not going to support you either. Like, really? That's dumb. So yeah. Um, I don't know what else to say. It's very interesting. Yeah, like I said, you know how you get kids to not watch adult content? You you have your guardian or parent be a guardian or parent because believe it or not, the generation before, I don't know if they're like big time millennials. We're growing up on because on corporate channels everything is meant for kids up to a certain point. Like for example, I could sit from the TV back in the day and just watch cartoons because there were channels meant for kids, and then later on they would get a little more adults and then adults, which is why Cartoon Network had a fantastic programming list of and then came Adult Swim, just for adults, but kids watch it anyway because we're not supposed to be there. You know, it's just interesting how that stuff happens. And sometimes, yeah, sometimes kids need to learn something. I mean, I remember like there's Animaniacs episode where Bambi's mom, or I should say, they made fun of Bambi's death, and it's called Bumpy. Oh, Bumpy's mom dies, of course, just like Bambi's mom, and the Skippy Squirrel cries throughout the entire thing because Bumpy's mom died, and that was a Disney film. And then they show the Old Yeller, and now he gets killed. And I'm like, life is a lesson about, like that teaches you that it is full of brilliant happy moments, but it's also where life must end. That's what Disney did in the past, and because it was full of life lessons that was about life and death, it got a G rating because it's just life. That's just what it is. And so when you have something just for kids, that puts them in, like I said, a safe space where they're not challenged. But still, you gotta. But no, now you gotta have trigger warnings, and we can't let kids experience this because my my son or daughter is too sensitive, or something. Maybe the only one who can know that is the parent or guardian. And it looks like I'm all out of topic details, but again, you've lost your mind. YouTube. You think this is going to solve anything? And in the long run, I doubt it. And we'll see what really happens. Because if you're gonna come get my money for no money made on your platform, good luck with that. Good luck, because you're pretty much violating. When the government involves themselves in somebody's free speech, yeah, they are, because the FCC and what was that? The GO. What is it? The COPPA, which is Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, was signed in the office So, and then they use that to throw this, get in this net of our YouTube's content. You're pretty much asking people just to just to go to Twitch. You're asking people to go away from your platform, but you don't care. You don't care about your content creators if they do that because you already have their money. And that's the thing, though. They know they're powerful enough now that they're the most like top 5 every year of most visited site other than like Reddit or something like that. YouTube is no, they have billions of dollars at their disposal, and they use it to for this propaganda about how the to get advertisers back and to make people happy on one side of the aisle. It's pretty disgusting sometimes. Anyways, I hope this is my first time doing this, and I hope you liked it. I'm just trying something different today because I got no game to stream, so this is what I did today. And I'll probably do more like this, but probably based on like Blizzard, because I want to talk about Blizzard as well, because their morals are not their morals are in the garbage right now, just like the NBA right now. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Thank you for listening, and goodbye, and have a great day.